Crepuscule Natura is the fourth full-length album from Uada, and this is a Portland, Oregon area black metal band. I would say a melodic black metal band with some Swedish melodic black death metal influences early on, and that really identified their sound in my ear early on when their first record came out. And I wasn't that surprised that this had been a evolution, a sort of new start for the one of the lead members of Ceremonial Castings, which is a Pacific Northwest kind of staple of USBM back in the day, and not that long ago either. So Devoid of Light, that debut was a big deal at the time because I was looking for melodic black metal and melodic black death metal because that was just a really big focus of mine for several years around that time in the 2010s, and they continued to put out records in of that quality. You could tell there was some rock influences. There was some Immortal, thrashing Immortal. There was some Inquisition-esque movements in some of those records that, for a lot of people, they felt derivative. In some ways, there was comparisons to Migwa, and then there was comparisons to Inquisition. Now, I think they came into more of a signature sound later on, but those first two records were important as far as knowing them and understanding what this new record is all about, but also getting a sense of how things changed with Jin, the third album. So a big double LP. Most of these records have made it on my favorite of the year list, and that was no exception. So with that in mind, and hoping you've listened to all three of those records, let's cut into a track here and see what this new record sounds like. So first of all, the production values are obviously much better here, and I mean, better is relative in terms of black metal. I say they're more polished, they're more readable. You're hearing more of the performances and less of the noise of the room and the bleed through of everything, and chalk that up to whatever. But their sound is now a bit more of a combination of everything that they've done up to this point, and I would say it is inherently more tuneful. It is slower. It is less aggressive and blasting in terms of the earlier Swedish style of the early 90s, but you still get the sense that Jin had like a very strong impact on their songwriting and the way they approach things, and those rock influences have sort of creeped in to insist on melody more often in their work. Now that makes sense in the shadow of dissection and all that too, but this record is much more focused on its own sort of, I wouldn't say post-rock or post-metal or anything like that, but there's definitely a modern kind of rocking feeling to a lot of these songs, which is relevant to their actual influences in a lot of ways, but also shows that this is a popular band that it does make sense that this music has gotten a bit more accessible, and that means less of the longer pieces of Jin. In fact, this record is quite a bit shorter than the last one. It is compact as a single record and not a double LP like the last. So this one's a little bit easier to dive into. There's a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new here, and there's a little bit more harmony as to for like what is Wada's sound. Well, this is a great example of what they sound like now and what they're going for. So they posited it as a rebirth, a resurrection, a reset in some ways, and I think it's been a very effective. Just a black metal record I enjoyed. I was looking for something heavily melodic, and I was expecting, top form from these guys. They're quite professional at this point, and yeah, I was pleased with this record. It's a very high score. It is one of the higher scores for a black metal record of September, by my count. And I'm a longtime fan of this band, so I factor in any bias there too. So. Check out the review for more details and go ahead and listen to it now. It released last weekend.